hope to accomplish tonight?
Well, I want to get to the game healthy. That's a big part of it. But at the same time, we've been talking the last 4 or 5 games or so of just maintaining our habits, especially defensively, and how we manage the puck, special teams habits, those kind of things, power play, penalty kill. So those kind of things, no matter who's in or out of the lineup, we expect to be at a high level at this point. But obviously, the most important thing is to get through the game healthy and compete at a high level. But we'll spread out the minutes and we'll get guys, guys that obviously haven't played a lot. They will get an opportunity to play more tonight, and that's a good opportunity for them to show what they could do with more opportunity. We think we are going to need a little bit more out of our depth guys when the playoffs begin, just because of the pace and the physicality is so high, and the volume of games and how quickly they come at you and such. So it's a good chance for them to show a little more tonight.
You touched on this a little bit last night, or yesterday, but just the uniqueness of we're in the last day of the season, if you don't count the Sunday game, and you still don't know who you're going to play. You've been able to do research on the two teams, but what was it like even monitoring the games last night, and then when the night's over, you still don't know?
Yeah, it's a little strange. Obviously, it's not ideal, but it is the same on the other side. It's not like whoever we end up playing is going to have an advantage in that way. I've been in this situation before at various levels. I remember being in this spot a lot in the American League. In this case here, like I talked about yesterday, because we played Tampa twice recently, and because there was a higher probability of playing them, we've been focused on that, and yet we have this game of Boston here, so we've been looking at them as well and just preparing for this final game of the season. That in itself, you're looking at a lot of different things that they're doing, and you're prepping for that. So we feel like we're in a fine place there, but yeah, it's sort of. We're balancing a little bit of both right now, and a lot of it's going to get thrown out, and we'll prepare. Once we know for sure what's going to go on here.
The fact that it's undecided, did make you think twice about your lineup for tonight at all?
No, I mean I think we made the decisions we did yesterday because we feel it's the best thing for our team. That's really where we're at. I think that's what we've already solidified our position in the standings. We solidified home ice. It's about making sure our players and then our team are in the best position possible when it starts on Monday. So our decisions don't change at all in that regard. I think every team, I fully suspect, that Boston's going to be a shell of themselves here tonight as well. And they can still move in the standings. So I think teams do that. You look around the league. I don't, from my understanding of it, Tampa's really tight to the cap and doesn't have much of flexibility to move their lineup around. But all around the league, I think teams are just looking ahead and taking care of their players.
Is it possible to overestimate the fact that Jack is A, healthy, and B, rested and in a groove heading into game 1?
I'm not sure I understand the question in terms of overestimating the, just how important it is.
Like how important is it? Like it seems like things have lined up nicely for him.
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, he's worked extremely hard to get his game back, and he's in a really good spot right now. Obviously, that was priority one for us, for the last couple months here, certainly the last month of getting Jack back in a groove. He's played some excellent hockey, obviously. He earned a position in the All-Star game for a reason because of how he had played. He's a huge part of our team's success. It slipped for a little while, and he went through some injury stuff, but he's found his way through that. He's in a really good place. He feels really confident, comfortable with where his game is at. He didn't feel he needed to play in tonight's game. He in fact, wants to continue to work at some things in practice and all of that, and he's in a good spot. And we're on the same page there, so it's an easy one for us to give Shalgren here tonight. And Jack will just continue to work with an eye towards Monday.
Outside of Austin and Mitch, who else will be out tonight if you're resting anyone else?
Tavares will be out tonight.
Does Hall come in?
We're going to go 7 defensemen tonight.
We talked about having the fans back in the building a couple days ago, but last season you guys had to wait 5-6 days to start the playoffs, and you were watching games down in Florida and Carolina. And there's, the buildings are packed and there's tons of energy. And then it's the same for both teams up here. But what was it like from seeing that to then playing a game that means the same amount in an empty space, basically?
Yeah, it was strange. You're jealous. I think it's probably a big part of it because, the fans are such a massive part of what makes the playoffs what they are. The players know what's at stake, and the play on the ice is and was last season still very competitive, but watching on TV and you can kind of feel the intensity and the emotion of the games through the crowd. That's really what it's about. So we're certainly excited to have that.
How did it feel for you, a full 82-game season?
Yeah, well, we haven't got to 82 yet, but yeah, it's been. We were talking a little bit about it yesterday. It's the first time for me, and never been 76 as AHL schedule, so that's as high as we've gone through. But it's in this season, it's been a grind. You have all the COVID stuff that you went through as a team, and a lot of stuff seems like forever ago. But we're excited with what's ahead here. We do have to get through Game 82 here tonight. So we don't want to look past this because we got a group of guys who are going to go on the ice and compete tonight. And every time you put your gear on, you're playing to win, and we'll coach to win tonight with being mindful of players' minutes and stuff like that. But we're really excited for what's ahead. Guys have put in a lot of work and put ourselves in a good spot. We know no matter who it's going to end up being between Boston and Tampa, it's a significant challenge. Both teams are playing extremely well, and just the fact alone that we're here at Game 82 and there's nothing really separating them in the standings shows just how good they are. The fact that we didn't clinch home ice till Game 81, despite setting franchise records and having a terrific season, shows just how tight the division is. So we're ready for a battle no matter whom it is, but we're certainly excited about it.
Was there any revelation about your team to you this year, or were the expectations met, do you think, or surpassed, or how would you see that for this season?
Well, I didn't take any sort of time to put any expectations on points or wins or anything like that. Right? You take it a day at a time. You really focus on how your team performs. And I knew we were going to be in a very competitive and tough division, where to the point that we felt going into it and even making the playoffs was going to be a challenge, going into the season. And we really solidified ourselves after a tough start. Solidified ourselves amongst the top teams in the league, had a terrific November, and really kind of launched us onto great things. So I think when I reflect on it, you can't help but be proud of the work that the guys did to put us in this position in a very difficult time in response to last season with some changes to our group. The work the guys did, the number of players we had that had career seasons. There's lots of really great things to feel good about with what the team did. And like I said, the ultimate goal was to put ourselves in a good spot. Frankly, the goal was to win the division, and we didn't get that done. And part of that is on us. We left some points on the table through the season. And part of it, of course, is the Florida Panthers have been outstanding, really from start to finish. So there's part of that at play there. But our team did a lot of really good things and grew in a lot of areas this season that give us confidence.
To your point there, you did get off to a slow start. If you had to pick one kind of turning point, would it be that Chicago game? The sky wasn't probably falling inside the dressing room, but outside of this building, it certainly was.
Yeah, maybe in this room too. but yeah, that win in Chicago, coming back to win that game in overtime, David Kampf ties it in the third period. That was certainly a big moment. Like we've talked about a few different times. I felt it in the Carolina game. Before that on that road trip, and that response that we got from the team and the things that we could take away from that. It was from a coaching perspective and from looking at the game on video. It was the most or the highest number of clips that look the way we want our team to look what we've been preaching since day one at camp. It was the most we'd seen, the most adherence to what we're trying to do. So that gave us great belief that it was going to fall into place. Just so happened, that game in Chicago, come back, it still was not the greatest game, but we found a way to get 2 points, and we didn't really look back from there. Yeah, so that was a big moment for sure. But like I've talked about, that coming out of that Carolina game, despite not getting a great result, I couldn't help but pull lots of positives from that, and then that was confirmed for me on the video. In fact, there's throughout the season where we want to reconnect with our identity and different things, and you want to show positives. There's a number of things from that Carolina game that we've pulled and that we've used throughout the season.
You mentioned you're going to need more out of your depth, maybe moving forward here. How do you feel about the way Wayne has played down the stretch here, and what you might be able to get out of him in the playoffs?
I think he's been great. I think all our guys, that have been in that position, similar to Wayne, Spez, Cliff, those guys have been in and out of the lineup. They've moved around. They've played with different players on that fourth line, and have done a really good job for us. I think there's, for a while there, our fourth line was really sputtering. We're getting scored on a lot. Weren't producing much offensively. We've really challenged those guys to really create an identity for themselves, no matter who's in or out and what the line might look like. This is what's expected. This is how we need you to play, and we need a group to create positive momentum. I think Wayne has really done a great job of that. He's really asserted himself physically. He's had a lot more shifts spent on the offensive side of center than the defensive side. So that's really good and positive for us. Just like we have to make a decision on defense, we got to make a decision on forward. And some of that might be made based on our injuries and stuff like that. But, those guys have given us great belief in our ability to get more out of the fourth line. So it's a credit to Wayne for adjusting his game and really focusing on how he can help our team. And like I said, I think Spez and Kyle Clifford have done the same.
To that point, if you're where's the gray area in terms of you're either going to be playing a team with Perry and Maroon, or a team with Marchand and Frederick, guys like that, guys who are known to try to goad the other team into taking penalties. How hard is it to define that gray area for guys like Wayne or anybody else that gets kind of goaded into that stuff?
Well, we just want our team to be as competitive as possible. That's really it. I mean, I don't look at our team as an undisciplined group or anything like that. I'm pretty confident in our team's ability to stay focused and play through anything. We want to be aggressive. We need to be physical ourselves. If the Tampa game we had recently got a little out of hand, and at the end, it's more a reflection of the score than anything else. But for the most part, our team's pretty focused and disciplined. We've played hard. We've been competitive. We've been way more physical in the last 6 weeks or so than we have been all season. I think that's also a reflection of the additions we've made to our team. Bringing in Blackwell, bringing in Labushkin. More focused play from guys like Clifford and Simmonds and Spaz. That's really added to the physicality of our team. We've talked at different times how guys like Mitch and Austin have stepped up in that regard as well. So that's really kind of blending through our team, and we want to be initiators in that way as well. And then we also just need to be a team that's comfortable playing through that physicality. That's part of it, and it's going to ramp up here even more. So we got to get comfortable, and I believe we are, and we'll be ready to play through that.
Marlies make the playoffs, obviously, but you have a pretty good idea who you may call on if needed from that group.
Yeah. I mean, we've got a number of guys down there that have contributed throughout the season for us, both at forward and defense. So we've got options there for sure, but we've got a number of guys here right now as well. So, we're really trying to leave things as settled as possible down there with the Marlies, as we have been for the last while. Obviously, Robertson was up the other day. In fact, Joey Anderson's going to come up and play for us here tonight. It is extremely important that those guys, they've been in a battle there to make the playoffs and get themselves in. So that's a big part of the development of a lot of young players, to be a part of something like that and commit to that and be with your team, be with your teammates, and all that piece of it. There's lots to come from that, just that battle alone. And then, of course, you're hopeful that they get in and they're really close. And then there's even more experience that comes with it. That's a big part of, being being in the American League, is to create more opportunities for development for your young people. You look at how many guys that are here playing for us, or in some cases playing in other places around the league, that benefited from those experiences.
Thank you.
Thanks.